you live in a country where you might feel a certain way, but here's the one thing about America that makes it different than anyone else. You have an opportunity, even as dumb as the she just said, that she has an opportunity tomorrow. They won't fire her over that.
Yeah.
She'll have an opportunity tomorrow to come on and fix it. Will she? She won't. But that's the thing about this country. Black, white, gay, straight, short, tall. Everyone's going to get hit with something. But the beauty about this country is there's always an opportunity for you to better yourself. So shame on you, Whoopi. Play the black card somewhere else because don't work here in America.
Okay, Tyrus is upset that Whoopi Goldberg likened the experience of being a black person in America to that of a lady living under the Iranian dictatorship, where women are detained for speaking out in public, dancing, or even taking off their headscarves.
The same.
No, it's not. The year 2025 in the United States is nothing like if I step foot wearing this outfit in Toronto and killed for
I'm sorry.
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
Not if you're black.
The hosts of a recent edition of The View were discussing the distinctions between living in Iran and America. As a black person in America, things don't always feel as free as people like to pretend, Whoopi said after the discussion began with a comparison of liberties. She drew attention to the various problems that Americans continue to face. She disclosed that this so-called freedom is conditional and not universally available to many people. The problem actually started when she made a comparison between Iran and America, which is a very different matter. Women in Iran face jail time for publicly displaying their hair. Therefore, many believe that Whoopi's statement that life in America is similar to what women face in Iran went too far. Because while America does have serious issues, they pale in comparison to what is happening in another country. And the most significant distinction, she can speak things like that on national television in America without fear of arrest. That's why this particular moment was so contentious. Although she is exploiting her platform, it also serves as evidence of the freedom she claims does not exist. And it was just that analogy that enraged Tyrus.
Only in America can a black person sit on a TV show getting paid millions and millions of dollars to have the floor and can say, it can interrupt people because she interrupted her.
Yeah.
And if according to her, life was like in Iran, it was for black people, her interrupting and speaking in public would have led to a stoning.
Let's go on to Tyrus, who immediately responded with a thorough explanation that, to be honest, seemed like something he had been holding back for a while. He claimed that a black person earning millions of dollars to sit on a TV show is unique to America. She claims that if life in Iran had been like this, she would have been stoned for interrupting and speaking in public. He wasn't merely criticizing Whoopi's interpretation. He was questioning the concept as a whole. His main point was that, although it's vital to point out the flaws, you can't act as though you would have the same freedom to express your opinions. In a country like Iran, he went so far as to refer to it as playing the black card. He meant that Whoopi was leveraging her persona to promote a false narrative, but that statement certainly got people talking. Tyrus wasn't advocating for America. He never claimed that there aren't issues, but he did make the point that this is one of the few nations in the world where a person like Whoopi can hold that job, earn that much money, and express her opinions on television without facing any serious repercussions. But the audience's response was just as important as Whoopi's words. The audience at The View began applauding when Whoopi made the analogy, which is what perplexed so many viewers at home. Because, let's face it, you wouldn't be applauding this even if you admire Whoopi or agree with some of her statements.
I think what was even worse than the fact that she said that, was the fact that the audience was clapping.
Yeah.
Which means there's more than one of them.
But you know what? Sometimes I think it's an applause sign.
Yeah.
Because
Is it an applause sign where you're also held at gunpoint? Because I would not clap for that.
No.
I would not clap for it's just as bad here as it is in Iran. I would not clap for.
People don't even care about facts anymore. They just care about how something feels. Greg Gutfeld said on The 5, He was pointing out that the audience wasn't really reacting to whether the comparison was true, but rather to how bold or emotional it sounded at the time. It was more about mood than actual facts.
Whoopi once again has been caught being even dumber than we thought. Watch as she claims blacks in America have it worse than women in Iran.
Consider it. We've all witnessed this before. Someone says something idiotic, and the audience erupts. But when you pause to consider it, you realize it didn't make any real sense. Is this even a fair comparison? Was a question that many people asked themselves when the emotion of Whoopi's words overcame them. And let's face it, when the clapping begins, it's infectious. The audience is seated live on the set, surrounded by lights and cameras, and someone next to you starts clapping, and you kind of follow along. This doesn't always mean that everyone agrees. Sometimes it just means that people were engrossed in the moment, which is why the entire situation irritated people, because it wasn't a lighthearted joke. The audience responded as though Whoopi had just said something courageous and revolutionary, but many people at home felt as though the entire room had missed the point when she made a serious statement comparing being a black person in the US to a lady living under an Iranian regime.
Play the black card somewhere else because don't work here in America.
Tyrus was criticizing the mentality that underpinned Whoopi's statements rather than merely reacting to them. He mentioned a rising annoyance that certain people in America continue to act as though nothing has changed and maintain a victim mentality in spite of the country's advancements. He then struck her with the audacious remark, "Shame on you, Whoopi, the black card doesn't work in America, so play it somewhere else." Is it controversial? Of course. However, he made a very clear point. You cannot claim to be oppressed while earning millions of dollars, appearing on national television, and hosting a talk show throughout the day. He wasn't arguing racism doesn't exist. Rather, he was stating that we can't overlook the advancements, particularly when the critic is prospering inside the system they're criticizing. Although Whoopi didn't reply explicitly, her subsequent remarks had the feel of "I said what I said." While some fans thought she missed the main point of Tyrus's critique, others recognized strength in that. And that's what really got people talking. This was about more than Whoopi or Tyrus anymore. It was about whether we could criticize America and still acknowledge how far we've come. Tyrus wasn't advocating disregard for injustice. He was arguing that systemic problems in the United States should not be compared to those in Iran, where speaking up might result in jail time, or worse. Real progress is dismissed and reality is flattened when they are compared. So did Tyrus go too far, or was Whoopi way off? If you like this analysis, please leave a comment, hit like, subscribe, and enable notifications so you don't miss the next one.